Welcome back to Justice for Giancarlo Fisichella in Formula 1 98, and round 6 brings us to the famous streets of Monte Carlo. Now, for this playthrough I turned damage off because I knew the AI were just too unpredictable and I wanted to be able to race wheel to wheel with them. But here I'm especially glad of that decision, as this game's handling model does not work well with street circuits. We are going to be awkwardly zigzagging through the Principality, and if we do happen to touch a wall, we'll just get bumper carred across track into probably the other wall or more cars. That should be fun. So yeah, I think we're going to be in for a very frustrating afternoon, albeit one that accidentally is very accurate in portraying how awkward it is to overtake around the streets of Monaco. This is the worst track to drive so far. Just hands down, just so clearly bad. But before we get into that, it was pole number 4 for Mika Häkkinen in real life, and front row lockout number 5 for McLaren. Surprisingly though, best of the rest didn't go to Michael Schumacher, he was 4th. Giancarlo Fisichella got 3rd, he was just half a second off the pole time. Teammate Wirtz was 6th, just ahead of Eddie Irvine, and it was a very fine performance for Mika Salo in the Arrows, getting 8th on the grid. Ricardo Rosset failed to qualify for the race for a second race in a row, missing the 107% time by half a second. Classic Rosset! This track is just terrible to drive. First sector's not so bad, but Mirabeau and the lowest hairpin, the car just doesn't turn them at all. Nouvelle chicane, because it's quite a tight, quick change of direction, very awkward, very easy to end up backwards coming into there because you just slide into it. Rascasse, I literally don't know how to do it without just coming to a complete stop. My best practice time was a 1 minute 24, and already we're 8 minutes into the session and Lacey is better than that. Sure, practice was in the wet, but the wet weather doesn't make any difference in this game, so I am about 5 seconds off the pace at the moment. I am going to not do any laps up front, and I'm just going to advance with half the session to go. Oh, Jesus! So I'm about 9 seconds off the pace, and Coulthard is on pole. Oh god, this is now going to be fight to recover to a good grid slot. Made quite a few setup changes for this one. Obviously bumped up both front and rear wings, made the suspension even stiffer by a click, changed the gear ratios. Yeah, obviously changed the gear ratio so it's better acceleration over top speed, which just makes sense around here. In previous qualifying sessions, I've usually taken only 1 or 2 laps to get myself to the top spot, but here, coming to the end of my 3rd flying lap and 4th overall, still only quicker than presumably Ricardo Rosset, and struggling to beat my own time. This was proving to be a massive nightmare, and just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, heading down to Mirabeau, keep an eye on it, the bouncing's back. Absolutely fantastic. Fair to say I wasn't best pleased. Only thing for it, changes were needed. Right, it's desperate times. It is the most desperate of times. I'm just putting everything up to the top. I'm bringing the brake bias back a touch. The car is still bouncing on the famous bump down to Mirabeau. Oh god. The changes actually helped me get to grips with the Nouvelle chicane, and then I actually quite enjoyed the run from to back through to the swimming pool. But the game wouldn't even let me have that. Watch the screen closely and you'll see a weird visual artifact. There is a weird bit of lag every time you come up to the swimming pool. The car doesn't react with your input at the swimming pool. It's so bizarre. Otherwise, it feels shut, but I've never had that weird sort of effect on anywhere else. What is happening? coming into lap 10 of the session, and I was still only 21st. We power through Sandevot, and Sector 1 in this track, not so bad, and that's mainly because you've got the speed and the momentum to be able to rotate the car in using the slightly unorthodox method you need to employ to drive this game. But then you get to Mirabeau, which is incredibly tight. Okay, not so bad, you've got a speedy entrance, so you can use the power slide method to get through. But then the Lowe's hairpin, there isn't really that much momentum at all, and the car's turning circle is so bad you have to almost come to a complete stop. The run down to Portier also very awkward because again you don't really get at the speed, and that's the big problem with this circuit. On the corners where there are multiple changes of direction or you don't have the momentum going in, you are kind of done for. Approach the Nouvelle Chicane, brake in a straight line, don't get any spin on it, you can cut across that curb, that's what the AI do, so I feel okay doing it as well. The run through to back into the swimming pool, again, perfectly fine, because you're carrying a lot of speed through. But then you approach Rascasse, which has a little flick to the left before the tight right, which means you don't have the momentum to be able to spin it round this corner, so again you're left just tiptoeing round with the car's appalling turning circle. It genuinely is the most unpleasant lap of the season so far, but thankfully, I recover. However, if the game wasn't testing me enough, things in real life then started to break as well. Good lord. To make things even better, the top of my thumbstick is now just rotating independently, so when I move it, sometimes it will just spin in a circle. I mean, it's old, so it's falling apart, and I speak from experience. Okay. It's never asked me for initials before after qualifying. Especially, like, I've gotten pole in every other qualifying session, and it's never asked me for initials. Why? What do you want? The pole streak comes to an end, and in quite a dramatic way, David Coulthard is back on pole again by 900ths of a second from Michael Schumacher, Hakkinen third, Irvine fourth, Wirtz is at least fifth, and Lacey continuing his form in sixth. We are, I think, down in 14th. No, we've gone behind Esteban Tuero. And we are 15th, 1.8 seconds off pole. Yeah, apparently I've managed to set the second in-game high score fastest lap. So literally, in like every other circuit, the fastest laps are so insane, like they're so far ahead of even the AI on their hardest difficulty and what you can do. Yet at Monaco, the AI are doing 1 minute 15s and are faster than the fastest laps, and I've gone... Before we head into what is likely to be a massacre, in the real 1998 Monaco Grand Prix, Mika Hakkinen completed a Grand Chelem on the way to victory, while, despite clipping the wall at Rascasse and spinning, Giancarlo Fisichella came home with a very fine second place. It was a day to remember for Arrows, both of their cars in the points, and a day to forget for Michael Schumacher. He seemingly damaged his car while getting elbows out racing Alex Wirtz, and then tried to pull a very optimistic and slightly ill-judged move on Pedro Diniz on the last lap into the Nouvelle Chicane, and he lost his front wing in the process, possibly driving angry by this point. Second, his real-life second is sadly out of the question. I think I'm going to say points. If we can get in the points from where we are today, that would be good. But god damn it, I just hope Schumacher and Hakkinen can somehow overhaul Coulthard, because we need a little bit of damage limitation. Oh, this is going to be rough. Oh, and the rain returns. How hard is it to overtake in Monaco? Let's find out. Lights out and away we go. Oh my good god. That was bad on so many levels. Oh my Christ. Well, that was our big opportunity to... Oh, no, my lord. There was Wirtz. I was about to say that was our big opportunity, but maybe the opportunities aren't quite over yet. Oh, my God. Jordan into the wall. Me into the Jordan. Let's see if we can get through. Oh, my God. This is impossible. Oh, good lord, guys. Keeps flicking to 10th, but I'm not being overtaken. I was in... What are we doing? It was in 11th then, somehow. Oh, good lord, I've just hit a Williams up the Jacksy. Like, what are we... Ah, but at least Schumacher has taken the lead. So that does help. But... Jesus Christ, I'm going to be a bit of a roadblock. I'm complaining at them. One car's just gone in the pits. Why has a Williams just gone in the pits? There's no damage on. Okay, fine, whatever. I'm not going to question it at this point. Villeneuve is next. And that was a lap of Monaco. Oh, this is just impossible. So the start was bad, not just because of how bad the AI were with each other, but did you see the amount of texture popping we got on the cars? Like, this is being played on the disc, on a PS3. This is nothing to do with weird emulation issues. That is just the game. As in the meantime, we come to a Sauber, and I've just overtaken them off the track, technically. But I'm going to let it slide. Because this is just ridiculous. They were weaving dangerously, that's what I would say. They were weaving quite dangerously across the track, multiple changes of direction, and I had to avoid an accident. So I think that's fine. So there is a bit of a queue behind me. Oh, good lord, I went down to neutral. Hell. I think I jinxed myself. In the last episode I said, oh god, it's good that the AI have to drive the same way you do, otherwise the game would be unplayable. And we found a track where I feel like they don't, because they can take the super tight corners, Mirabeau and, you know, Lowe's hairpin, Rascasse, much better than you. They have more of a turning circle there, it seems. Oh my god. However, no one's making me go to neutral. That's all me, baby. Oh! Sauber trying to find some space at the inside. Clearly angry that the stewards haven't ordered me to give that place back. And I think, because of that, a steward has just managed to take it back. Oh my god, the gap to Villeneuve's insane. Good lord, Schumacher's already crossing the line. Damon Hill is in the points for the first time. Maybe that's not important right now, though. That's what I would say. Jesus. Somehow, that touch of the wall propelled me forward. Oh my god. And Wirtz just absolutely sent it on me up to Anthony Nogues. Which is a fair play move from Wirtz, but at the same time... Oh, good lord. I know it's a bit early for team orders, but come on, guys. See, I took Mirabeau okay then, but it feels like a fluke rather than me actually knowing how I did it. At this rate, we might actually get lapped. Oh my god. They're just gently across the track. Like, how are they taking that? How are they just driving through Raskas? The car just feels completely unpredictable at the minute. More so than usual. We start to catch up through, like, Tabac and the swimming pool section, and then we just get to Raskas, and we have to basically do an emergency stop. It's just awful. Felt like a handbrake turn, Jesus Christ. Oh, good lord. It sounded like the engine had completely cut out then, even though I was in 4th gear. I will admit my laps haven't been the best, but it's just impossible when you're being hassled by the AI. The car just doesn't turn. The lag down by the swimming pool section is just unlike anything else in the game. It starts to feel like the steering becomes disconnected from your actual, you know, steering. You know, we've already discussed how there are many parts of this game which are buggy and slightly broken. Monaco feels completely broken. It just really does. And I wish, honestly, if you can emulate it, if you've got it, just experience it on hard difficulty. So you know it's not just me going like, oh, it's definitely broken when I'm just being bad. I probably am not being the best. I think that's fair. It's fair to say I'm not driving the best. But even still, the game makes it very hard for you to drive well. That was me. That was admittedly me. But the game's got in my head. What can I say? That one wasn't me. That was just box. Seem to have now found a middle ground where I'm fast enough to have pulled away from 10th. And we're seeing like the leaders cross the line at about the same point each lap. But we're not really gaining anything. We're not catching verts. Even with me basically just cutting the Nouvelle chicane then. Gap's not coming down, guys. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about that either. Don't worry about any of it. Just, it's fine. It's cool. It's the final lap, and thank for that. After Spain, where there wasn't any new bugs, and we kind of just... I've just thought, I've got this game now. I understand this is why it's broken. This is the ways in which it is broken. We know what to expect going forward. And then this. Do not relax. You don't know what you're going to find. Many unknown terrors might still lurk throughout the remainder of this playthrough. I mean, at least we don't get lapped. That's something. Somehow we can see verts again. I'm not going to go crazy trying to pass my own teammate on the last lap, but Jesus Christ, he has suddenly slowed down a bit. Yeah, he can just take Raskas quicker. Good riddance. It is a first win of the season for Michael Schumacher, and Mika Hakkinen gets ahead of Coulthard. Good, that's okay in terms of damage limitation. He at least hasn't won. Irvine in 4th, Damon Hill getting his first points of the season in 5th, and Jack Villeneuve in 6th. We come home 9th. So it's a net gain of positions, and honestly it went better than I was expecting. So this is how it affects the driver standings. David Coulthard still leads, but he's only 5 points away from both Schumacher and Hakkinen, who are level on points. We stay on 30, we're only 6 points away, so it's not too bad. I think we've escaped quite nicely there. No points today for Jean Alesi, Eddie Irvine though taking up the chase up to 5th. So Ferrari have effectively shut the gap to McLaren today by, I think, just a point it will have been. But yeah, as you can see, the gap is still 30 points. They're still pretty comfortable because Benetton, us, didn't score. Yeah, we just dropped to 3rd in the standings. Sauber are still best of the rest at the minute, but points for Jordan and Williams mean that fight for 4th is going to be... It's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on throughout the season, but they are very much fighting for scraps. Well, I'm glad that's done with. Knew it would be bad. Didn't know it would be quite that bad, but we have survived, still only 6 points off the top. That's not so bad. Up next, Montreal, Canada, a track that Giancarlo Fisichella was quite fond of. He really enjoyed racing here, it was one of his favourites, so I hope that we can maybe return to form and match with maybe getting our 3rd win of the season here. That's my target here. But thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying the series, and we are leaving it there for today. Another round in the bag. We're still in the fight, 4-way fight, very much brewing at the top. Great to see Michael Schumacher getting a win and very much cementing himself in the fight, even though he's been there on points the whole time. But I'm really enjoying this season. It may not look like it, it may not sound like it, but I am enjoying the season. The individual races, no, but the season, I know that doesn't make full sense.